Hello, happy Monday. I am here doing all the things. We were able to wrap up school early, and so had some work meetings. Now I'm prepping lunch while I sit here and decide to go live for you guys, with you guys. When you hop on, say hello, drop some hearts, drop a comment, even if you're watching the hashtag replay. I wanted to share today because I've been talking back and forth to a lot of parents, a lot of moms who are really struggling with the adjustment of working through this chaos, right? Like working from home. For a lot of people, working from home is a new thing in this time as we do the social distancing, as we prolong the lockdown. And it's really hard. It's really hard to maintain the work level. It's really hard to maintain the anxiety and stress. It's really hard to balance it, and especially if you have kids at home, you're probably like, what the hell am I doing? Even if you don't have kids, this is for you too. Because honestly, I think working from home is the hardest because it takes so much self-discipline. It takes motivation. Anyone supposed to be working from home and last week you felt so unmotivated, you didn't hardly do anything, you watched a lot of Netflix, I want to tell you that that is perfectly normal, but I also want to empower you to know that you have what it takes to overcome those struggles. First and foremost, I do have some top tips, and then at the end, I will have some extra tips for those who are working with kids at home, just to kind of help you set some boundaries, set some standards for yourself, and really reach that level of workmanship that you expect from yourself through this craziness, right? So the first things first is, if you found yourself out of work and you're at home doing this, you don't really know what to do. Like I don't know what to do with my hands. I feel overwhelmed. I feel anxious. I need my routine back. The thing that I'm going to tell you is keep your routine. Being home doesn't mean you have to sleep your days away, and then just sit around and do nothing. If you feel out of control, you feel high anxiety, you feel super overwhelmed, I'm going to tell you, stick to your routine. Why? It will give you the control over your day. So even if you're waking up early, you're moving your body, or you're having a morning breakfast with your coffee, you're just getting that time for yourself, it will allow you to be more productive throughout the rest of the day, and you won't feel like you're wasting your day. You won't be spending as much time scrolling because you're starting your day with intention. You're starting your day knowing that you're getting up and doing your things that you need to. And even if it gives you the rest of the day, for example, I'm done with my day, like 100% done with my day. It gives me the rest of the day to do whatever I want. So maybe that means going outside and playing with my kids in this freaking sunshine. Thank you, Jesus, that you are sending this to us. Maybe that means sitting down and taking a nap and watching Netflix. Maybe that means working more. Whatever I want to do, I have the control and freedom to do that. So keeping your routine is super, super important through this whole process. Make sure that you're still getting up early. It doesn't necessarily have to be 3 o'clock in the morning if you're a super early bird or you had to be at work super early, but maybe it still means getting up before your children. Maybe it still means getting up with the sunrise, whatever that means, so that you have that hour or two to yourself so you can decompress and start your day off on the right foot. The second thing, I guess, kind of goes with that, with keeping a routine, is make sure that you still get up early. Don't hit snooze. Don't sleep until 1, unless you are that person who just performs better in the evenings. I personally am not. I perform best between 6 a.m. and noon. Catch me after that and I'm like a zombie. I can't hang. I just want to chill. But from 6 a.m. till about 11:30 noon, I'm like, yep, let's do this. Let's take on the world. I can do anything. And then I hit kind of this time where I'm like, ugh, all my energy is gone and I just want to chill. And so that's why I really go into my mornings very intentional, because I know that's when I perform best. So I think it's important for you to ask yourself, when do you perform best? Maybe it's not in the mornings, and maybe it is later at night. How can you set up a routine so that you can have success in your work area through the evening? My dog wants to play right now. So number 3, biggest tip from working from home to finding success in working from home is setting up a workstation or a workspace. Making sure that you have a desk or an office, something that's different. on the couch in front of Netflix will not help you be successful, because when you're in that space, guess what? You feel like you just want to relax. You're not going to be as productive. But if you have a desk that's downstairs or a desk that's in a side office room, when you go into that space, you know, okay, my job is this is what I have to do, and guess what? You're going to show up more, better, in a more productive way, because that's what that space is for. And when you step out of it, then you get to turn into mom or dad, or you get to turn into whatever else labels that you carry, the cleaner, the cook, all those things. A lot of the times what you will notice is if you're sitting at the kitchen table and you have to work, you will get to work and you'll look up, oh, there's all the dishes. I better go do the dishes. And then you go do dishes or do laundry or clean or fetch whatever it is that your children need. If you have a specific workplace, then you can tell them when mommy's at her desk, she's working. So I need you to do X, Y, and Z. And you're really setting those boundaries. So the third biggest tip is create a workspace at home. Fourth is put your phone on airplane mode. I don't know, maybe you caught yourself this past week as you were working, you hopped on Facebook or Instagram and you were scrolling and you were looking at what your kindergarten best friend's grandpa's whatever was doing, and you're like, I don't even know this person, how'd I get on their page, like what am I even doing? You notice that you're scrolling so much more. You are just spending so much time on your phone because, well, now you have that freedom when before maybe there was a no phone rule. For me, what I have to do is when I'm being intentional with my children is I have to put my phone on airplane mode so that I don't get notifications. Nothing's dinging, nothing's going off. It's out of sight, out of mind. But if you have it in your sight 24/7, guess what? You're going to be scrolling and scrolling and scrolling. You're going to be like, 2 hours later and I don't have any of my work done. So I think that's super, super important. So again, my top 4 tips for working from home is keeping a routine, getting up early and starting your day off on the right foot, creating a workspace, and then putting your phone on airplane mode. That will be so, so helpful. Now maybe you're one of those people who have kids at home and you're like, I cannot even. This is a little bit tricky. My business doesn't have set work hours, so that's a very big plus to it. I know some people who've transitioned to working at home. One of the biggest struggles is you still have the 9 to 5 expectations. You still have to clock in at a specific time and clock out at a specific time. So having kids at home will be just about freaking impossible. Let's be honest. So maybe you are having to find alternative daycare or having a family member watch them. I'm not for sure. I think the biggest thing that you can go into this with is, one, you have to ask for help from other people around you, possibly, if you do have that 9 to 5 expectation still, or even your kids themselves. I know I have little, so it's really hard to expect them to keep themselves busy for 8 hours. However, I can do pockets of time. I can say, all right now mommy is going live. You're supposed to stay out of the kitchen, and you're supposed to go play while I do this, right? Setting those expectations, and I'm asking them to help show up for me and my work. I'm asking them to take responsibility in the business that we are building as a family, and that's super, super important. Always remember to ask for help. Will be so, so helpful when you have kids. Your kids are going to understand way more than you think that they do. If you just communicate with them and tell them, like, for me, for example, I have a business. They know mom has certain calls that she has to do. When mom's working or doing this is the outcome that we will get. So for example, if you're at home, mom has to go to work so that I can pay the bills and we can eat, pay for our groceries, whatever that may be. Setting those expectations, letting them know how they can help through the process is super, super important. The second thing that I recommend with kids, trying to balance the work at home with kids, is having power hours. If you do have the flexibility of not being set to specific hours, what I do is something called power hours. That's where I will sit down and I will work for an hour or two, and then I unplug. Then I maybe have an hour later where I can work, and then I work there. When my kids were super, super little, which that works now because they are pretty self-sufficient. When my kids were little, I worked in power pockets, which meant every, 10 minutes on every hour, or I wake up and I do this real quick, and then I go into mom mode. Once the kids are settled, watching a movie or eating breakfast, then I get 10 more minutes to work. my job is flexible in that. I understand not a lot of tasks are like that in the traditional job setting. So maybe power hours are a better thing for you. For me, that's also what I do is nap time hustle, bedtime, like after bed hustle. Those are my jams. Like I have rest time, not so much anymore. My kids are growing out of it and it's so heartbreaking, but it's fine. We're adjusting. Nap time hustle, where at 12:30, 1 o'clock, I get my kids all set into a routine. They all lay down, whether they're napping, whether they're resting, whether they're watching a movie, and it's quiet time. And they know for the next 2 hours, mommy works, and it's nap time hustle, and you're not supposed to get up and move around and do all the things. It's rest time, and it's time for you to slow down and take time for you, take a nap if you feel like it, whatever that is. For me, nap time hustle is like thebomb.com. I know I already told you guys I'm more efficient in the mornings. However, with the changes, I have to be flexible and willing to adjust. And so that's my adjustment. My adjustment period is my nap time hustle, where I can sit down and get that work done. Anything that I don't have done throughout the day, once nap time's over, I put it away. Work is work and home is home. And it's really separating the two is so vital. So if I have any extra work that I have to catch up on, then once I get the kids to bed at 8 o'clock, then I know I have that time, at least 2 hours before I have to go to sleep. And I can get my work done in that pocket of time, power pocket. Time blocking for me is so incredibly crucial. When I'm setting up a schedule, and especially when I was setting up my homeschool schedule, I had to block out specific time. Nap time hustles for me. School hours are in the morning. And I know in these hours I do my workout. In these hours I do schoolwork. Then we have lunch, and then I have my work. And then guess what? Our whole day should be done within that. And I know during these school hours, I will not be on my phone. I will not be working. I will not be answering phone calls, because that's dedicated to my children and that's dedicated to their schoolwork. If you can block off times, not necessarily like at 11:01 we have to do X, Y, and Z. No. That will be stressful if you are setting specific time minutes, unless that's what your schedule calls for. For me, time blocking is much more efficient, because I know, like, okay, I've got to get this done. When this is done, we got to do this. If that makes sense. Hopefully it does. I hope this is super helpful. But yeah, so those are kind of my tips when it comes to having kids at home, is asking for help, doing time blocking, power hours, and then my jam, of course, of the nap time hustle or the bedtime hustle, where I get that focused, dedicated time to myself to get work done. If this was helpful, please drop a comment. Let me know. I would love to share any tips and tricks. Working from home for the past 5 years has definitely been a learning experience, and I will say with every season it's different. And I know right now a lot of this stuff we don't really have control of, and we probably feel a little bit helpless. This is something that you can control, and these are adjustments that you can make in your week. I do want to tell you, like, it's not going to be perfect. You always have to be flexible, but if you're willing to start implementing these, you will find much more success as the week progresses, and you will feel more accomplished. You will feel less stressed, and I really hope this helps you realize that you're capable of this. So I'm gonna go finish lunch, and I'll talk to you later.